Hello everyone and welcome to a first taste on a game that I am so excited to be able to share with you. A huge thanks goes out to BugByte Limited for affording me the opportunity to check out this game ahead of its May 21st release into early access. We are of course talking about Space Haven. This is a game I've been following in development for quite some time, and to put it simply, this is what you would get if you crossed Rimworld with Starship Theory. Two games that I was extremely happy to be able to play on the channel, and in fact continue to play to this day, especially in the case of Rimworld. Now, Space Haven takes kind of a very Rimworld focus on the minutiae of managing a colony and apply the sort of setting of Starship Theory. That is, you are Rimworld in space. Now, yes, I know some people will say, but Aavak, Rimworld's already in space. And yes, that is technically true, and we are also in space. We are all but humble astronauts flying through the cosmos on a massive spherical dirt spaceship. But we're talking about life on basically a junkyard spaceship. You build it tile by tile out of resources that you kind of just cannibalize off other derelict spaceship. There's lots of kind of space tropes here, so you might try and scavenge parts of a derelict spaceship and find that it's infested by alien bugs, and maybe you'll find some egg sacs on the wall that maybe contain a crew member that you can rescue, or maybe not, maybe they'll just be space pirates. There's some factions, there's asteroid mining, but generally the focus is on your tiny little crew and their wants and needs, and they have a lot of kind of a flowing set of morale modifiers, very much like Rimworld. Eating without a table is a thing here, for example, and just trying to keep everything rolling, the oxygen pumping, the food on the table, so on and so forth, in your quest for Eden, a new home for humanity. But with that said and done, I believe that showing is a lot easier than describing, so let's jump into the game. Okay, so right now we've only got one game mode, and that is a normal, but you can play in a couple of different scenarios. So basic platform. Your crew of your 4 have left the Earth behind, and the stars await you. First, though, you need to build a ship. So you kind of start off with a basic thing. You go through a little bit of tutorials, and you can set all of that up. Or you can be on an abandoned mining station. The mining station was abandoned at the height of the crisis on Earth, and has now been repurposed as a shipyard. Use its facilities to build your ship from scratch, and strike out into the unknown. We're going to go ahead, and we're going to start on the basic platform so that we can wander through the tutorial. But if there is interest in seeing more of this than just a first taste, well, you know how to let me know. That is down in the comment section, or with a like on the video, or both if you're feeling particularly generous. And we may, in fact, see this return as a bit more than just a 1 or 2 video miniseries. Now, game name, well, New Haven. Well, let's call it something else. Dapper Haven, that doesn't really kind of have the alliteration that you know I love. Let's go for Dapper Derelict. Look, okay, it's humble. We've come from the very crust of humanity, just junk floating in space, and we're going to make something of this. Just because we're a junk ship doesn't mean we can't be proud of it and be the dapperest people that we possibly can be, even in the face of the worst crises, like, you know, asphyxiation in the cold, uncaring void of space. Now, you've got a difficulty selection over here. You can go peaceful, builder, medium, or harsh. We'll go with medium, I think. It largely affects how many resources you have and the general availability of enemies, but I do believe that you can have quite a lot of control over this. You can go into edit and really customize this to your liking. That's always a nice thing to see, where you can really drill down and just play around with the settings as you like. And with that, then, we come on to the crew, and you'll start to see why I drew the comparison to Rimworld. You've got your general skills, you've got some base kind of attributes, like how brave they are, how intelligent, so on and so forth. They also have some traits. So, yeah, they've got an origin and some traits, and those are pretty cool. Over here, we've got some team skills. We can see that we haven't got very good construction, and generally speaking, blue is good. Gray is, yeah, you know, that's kind of like the standard, and red is, yeah, there's a skill lacking in your team composition. Now, of course, we're going to be renaming the entire crew, and indeed, we're going to try and get a well-rounded crew. So I shall bring you back in just a moment. Okay, there we go. We have got Silkas, Pepster, Little Rabbit, and Vikamura. Thank you all so very much for being patron supporters and helping to support the channel. We have got two people who are reasonably good at botany. This is going to be important. They're actually both fairly good with industry. Silkas is our general dog's body. They've got a spattering of skills. The only thing they really have any kind of real gap is weapons, but that's fine because we've got a Little Rabbit over here who is really good with weapons and killing things. And in fact, quite likes killing things. It doesn't surrender, does work a little bit slower on things, but it's basically immune to fear, which is really useful because alien insects are inherently scary. Silkas is a fast learner, which is actually pretty good. So we should see all of these skills where Silkas can kind of turn their hand to quite a lot of jobs. We'll get better at them over time, nice and quickly. We've got Vikamura over here, who's a minimalist. Doesn't mind sleeping on the floor, doesn't mind eating without a table, but learns a little bit slower. They're an ascetic. I actually quite like that because it does mean that we're going to be able to get by with a few less creature comforts in the early game. We've also got our mining technician over here, Pepster, who is confident, also somewhat less likely to surrender in combat, but is immune to people being mean to them. Yes, the comparison to Rimworld is actually quite strong. People, they will have crushes, they will get rejected, they will be in a bad mood. However, here they'll bounce back within like a few hours, whereas in Rimworld, if someone turns you down, it like ruins your mood for like 3 quadrants or something. It doesn't really ruin your mood for that long, but it feels like it in the beginning of the game. Right, so that's our crew, and with that, it's time for us to get down onto the ship. Okay, want to have your crew members work in shifts? You can do that from the crew management menu by modifying schedules for crew members. In fact, we absolutely will be doing that. Okay, we're going to be playing through the tutorial for the beginning of this build tools facility. This facility will transform resources to recharge your crew members' building tools, essential for any type of building. It constantly makes noise and requires power to operate. We've got a lot of things to unpack down here, but that's our main focus, is to try and get that build tools facility up. We've got a lot of stuff going on here. Uncomfortable environment. Well, you know what? Look, at least you've got an environment to be uncomfortable in. This is not a guarantee at the moment. The world is kind of a pretty horrible state, actually. Right, Little Rabbit condition gone, wearing spacesuit because they've got out of their spacesuit. Silkas, much the same, and Vikamura, but Pepster still wearing their spacesuit, apparently. Have they even gotten out? No, actually, Pepster has... there we go, you've got out your spacesuit. Right, they're going to start immediately loading things with resources. But before we get down to that, let's have a quick look at what we've got. This is our little spaceship. Around us, we've got asteroids with various resources. These are procedurally generated as you play through the game. We have also got down this away a derelict spaceship. You can see a massive hole in it, and that's what we're going to be probably tearing apart in a little while. We've got all of our crew up there. We can see that they're currently all working. We've got a bare readout of their stats. Health, I believe the second one is either sleep or perhaps food. Let's have a quick look. Yes, it's sleep. The last one is O2. They all have a schedule that we can, in fact, look up. If we bring this up, we can see that we can shift them around. Now, we probably will be doing that for the same reason that I do it in Oxygen Not Included. Not so much so that we've got people active at different times of the day, but so that we can do hot swapping of bunks and the like, though in Oxygen Not Included, that's not the case, but it'll certainly help with the toilet at the very least. We've got a bunch of things over here. These are ship operations, so navigator, gunner, shields, and operations in general, so hailing. But this is more your general skills: medical, botany, construction, maintenance. I mean, obviously all of these things happen on the ship, but they're less about making the ship run in a kind of intersolar capacity and more just making the ship work and being able to live on said ship. What have we got in our ship to start with? We've got a little bit of a power generator. We've got the power network is a bit of an interesting one. If we actually bring that up down here, you can see that you've got to use these power nodes to transmit the network across the ship, and that is actually quite important. We'll get into that in detail in a little bit. We've got a cargo storage, which is full at the moment. We've got a little shuttle that we're going to be able to use to get around. We have also got 2 pod hangars. These can be used for all sorts of things, like building extra parts of the hull on the ship, any kind of external work on the ship, and also mining and the likes. Our generator is the big one right now, because without this, everything else would break. We've also got some thermal regulators, which are just trying to improve the temperature in the ship, though they're not really being able to get there. They can't quite reach the set temperature based on the size of the ship and the amount of thermal regulators. We're trying to get up to 22 degrees, but we can only manage 10. Right, so with that, let's get this tools facility up and running. We do that, we've got a couple of things done here. Edit allows us to edit the ship itself, whereas objects allows us to work on kind of the internals and systems. And specifically, we want life support. And, oh, actually, no, we want tools. Let's go ahead and see what that would be. That will be under the tools facility. So let's go to the tools facility here. In here, we've got arcade machine jukebox. I haven't actually seen those before. Got kitchen, hypersleep, toilet. Okay, that's not actually what it is. Oh, resources tools facility. My bad. Right, okay. So we've got a tools facility over here. Fantastic. Now, if we have a look at this, create build tools for your crew members, essential for building. Comfort -20, and standby power is 0.1 per second. It does output a bit of heat. No operator needed, so it's completely automated. I guess we would need to load it with materials, though, in order to get it to do things, but we'll have a look about that. Now, if we press V, we can see where all of the free building space is on the ground, which is actually quite useful. You can rotate as well, but you can't rotate the map, and that's actually a little bit of a sadness, because honestly I think the map could do with a bit of rotation. Frankly, it can get a little cluttered, honestly, and not being able to rotate the view itself does mean that sometimes it's a little bit hard to navigate, especially in derelict ships, but we'll make do with what we can. I'm just going to go ahead and pop this over there, because that will definitely be within the electricity network. We'll also upgrade the time a little bit, just so that we can get this work done reasonably fast. And there we go, we can already see Little Rabbit getting that up and running. Well done, Little Rabbit. Thank you very much indeed. Now, what is our next job? Create optimal gas conditions. Build the following objects: the oxygen generator and the gas scrubber. The gas scrubber will pull out CO2, smoke, and toxic gases, whereas the O2 generator will, as you can imagine, generate O2. Now, we can actually have a look at CO2 on the map. We've got 3 CO2 in this room here, and O2, 143. That is really not enough. There shouldn't be any toxic gases, but I do believe the generator may actually produce some gases there. No, actually, it doesn't. It just produces a lot of heat, so that's all well and good. Right, let's go to life support then. We are going to want an oxygen generator. And where exactly are we going to place this? I'm going to place it, well, let's have a look at the power map, so we don't have to worry too much about moving that around initially. We can have O2 kind of right in the middle of everything, and I think that might not be a bad idea. We'll just plonk this about there. And the gas scrubber. Hazardous gas scrubber removes CO2, smoke, toxic gases. This produces a little bit of heat, and power consumption is 3 per second, standby power. So if it's not having to do any active work because there isn't enough toxic gas in the air to make sense for it to be running, then it'll consume a small amount of power even so. There we go, and we'll run that for a little bit. It won't take them too long to get this one done. Major discomfort, though, in our crew. Probably because there isn't enough air there, or it's just very, very cold, and they dislike that greatly. But there we go. This is now up and running. It's currently idling. There we go. It's now active. Right, we need to build a thermal regulator next. Thermal regulator. The right temperature is essential for people to survive on a ship. This module will try to maintain a certain temperature that can be manually set. Once placed, open up the item window and set the temperature, or we can use the wall thermal regulator. Let's go and see if there's much of a difference between the two. No, they both use more or less the same amount of resources to make, though this one, actually I tell a lie, it requires a little bit more building tools. Once opened, it doesn't seem to have any other notable difference, so we'll go for the wall-mounted regulator. Now we've got 2 down here, so we could perhaps just tuck another one all the way up here. We can pop that right next to this power node, just so that we make sure that we have plenty of energy going over there. Now, these are smaller power nodes. Something that, while I was checking out the tutorial previously, I didn't really properly pay attention to. And that is, some of them have a much greater capacity than others. This one can output 150, whereas this one can only output 25, for example. So you want to try and have zones where low power or high power consuming items have the right sort of node to feed them the power they need. Now the temperature overall is 20°. That's actually not too bad considering. Little Rabbit is a little bit lonely. Oh, and so is Vikamura. We need to get you guys somewhere where you can kind of relax socially, I think. Right, with that done, we should be able to just click on this and set its temperature. It's currently trying to get up to 22. Now with the 3 of them, they should be able to do that. Build one of the following objects. Power nodes. This power node will distribute power to facilities and lights within an area. Open up the power node to see how your power grid is set up. But this one works well for facilities with a higher power need. Combined with the battery module to ensure facilities with a high power need work steadily. We've also got the wall node, which is like low to medium, and then the floor node, which is low. We've got this space over here that I'm kind of interested in setting up perhaps as a bit of a living quarters, and I don't believe that the power drain on a living quarters specifically, as a kitchen and stuff like that, is particularly high, so we should be able to get away with a in-floor node. Now, the thing with this is if I place this here, no nodes are in range. They have to be neighboring an existing network to work, which is why this one's a little bit frustrating where it is, because it's just out of reach, and I may be able to adjust that going forward. If I place this one there and then I can move this one up a tad, then that might actually work out for us okay, but we'll see how that one goes. Well, for the time being, just go ahead and place this one right there. Get that all hooked up. Pepster, feeling a little hungry. Okay, well, we've got some food around. We've got, let's have a look. There we go. We've got 30 space food. Space food is specially formulated to provide complete and balanced nutrition for individuals working in space while being easy and safe to store. That's actually quite nice. Prepare and consume. Right, power not linked. We need to link the node. Power nodes are capable of expanding the reach of power generated by a power generator. Power is transferred from one node to another via power links. Create a link between 2 power nodes by selecting a power node and pressing the links button. Okay, connect one power node to another by pressing the green connect icon, blah, blah. If power nodes are too far apart from each other, they cannot be linked. When constructing a power node, the green lines will show potential links. Indeed, so that's covering what we were talking about just there. If we click on the link over here and link down there, you'll notice that each node has a certain amount of connections. Each one can only connect to 3 other nodes. You can have them be one way or in both directions. So you can either have this node only receive or only send. So you can create isolated networks, which is actually pretty cool. But we're going to have a bi-directional link there. So this should now be on the network, and we can check that out here. Yeah, that one's filling up power there. Perfect. Build one of the following objects. A light. Okay, building light so your crew can see. I mean, that's always quite useful. They are actually walking around in the dark right now, except for the blinking lights and displays on all of the objects over there. Wall lights are quite nice. They obviously tuck into the walls, much like the wall thermal regulator down here, but standing lights can be anywhere in a room. That should be under furniture, I believe. There we go. There's no particular difference, except this one uses a lot less resources. Well, the tools. This one does use more tools, but doesn't use the infra block, basic construction component used to assemble simple facilities. I guess because this has to stand, it needs more structural bracing, or rather, it needs a structure that it can stand on, whereas this is just building off the hull already. We could go ahead and have this right next to the power conduit, though. I don't think that's going to be necessarily a problem for us. While we're having a look at that, we can see vents. There are no vents. I guess vents are something for internal to move oxygen between rooms. Nothing looking particularly bad there. CO2 is actually rising, so let's have a look at this. This is idling, so I guess it'll only turn on once the CO2 reaches a certain amount rather than just constantly running. We've got oxygen in there. We're up to 150 now, 152 in some places. Now, you'll find near the oxygen generator, it's a lot better than over here. So the gas is moving around. It isn't just immediately completely equalized across an entire room. I believe this will also produce carbon as a byproduct of scrubbing out the CO2 and smoke and other pollutants. Expand the spaceship's hull. Expand your spaceship hull to create more room for facilities. Now, a word to the wise. When I was first playing through this tutorial, just to get familiar with the game, I decided, oh, well, I want a massive hull. And yeah, don't do that. Just a tiny little bit will do. Try not to use up all of your resources like I did, because then you're just going to feel silly. For now, though, given all of this, and given the placement of this node, let's see how far out that comes. Well, we're probably going to want to expand out in this direction more. So we're going to do a little bit of an expansion for the time being. We're just going to bring that across to this tile right there. So with that, there we go. And this will do very little to expand this out. We're just enough to complete the tutorial for now. There we go. And then immediately going to grab the pods and head out and start building. The rest of the crew are just chilling out. Now, it's interesting that only one person is doing that work. Let's go and have a quick look. Oh, apparently we need to set up beds. Ah, they've got construction on a fairly low priority here, where only Little Rabbit has it on a high priority. I guess that isn't terribly bad. I suppose we'll leave that stand for now. It's good to understand why only one person was building them. Right, we need some beds for our crew and a toilet. Build beds for the crew. A comfortable bed for your crew to sleep in. And also a toilet. X1 multi-purpose toilet. The toilet is hygienic and is capable of transforming human waste into usable water. Operated by a crew member. That is grand. Let's go ahead and have a quick look then. Now, we're going to probably want that under... well, furniture, I should imagine, for the beds. But where is the toilet? It's under facility. Okay, that's fine then. There we go, the X1 toilet. Now, this requires a little bit of power. Takes human waste, produces water out of it. We will eventually, obviously, want a kitchen as well. Now, as it does require a little bit of power, we do want to kind of pop this away somewhere. For the time being, it's going to be super awkward. Look, I understand. Don't think I don't. I totally understand that this is going to be crazy super awkward. But let's just put it there for now. Yes, everyone's going to be able to see it. You don't have time for this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I feel really far too bad. I really do feel too bad. I can't force people to have to poop in front of everyone else. I know this is the future, and we're already shy on resources. But come on, let's at least have this. Oh, actually, I can't put the door there. Okay, well, I'll pop the door there then. There we go. What type of wall was I using here? Was it an X1 or was it this one? No, it definitely wasn't that one. So we'll go with the X1. There we go. That should at least give them a little bit of privacy while they're using the lavatory. We can raise the walls like so, and we can go through various different modes. So we can have the hull walls, for example, but no internal walls, and that is quite useful. It's going to take them a little bit of time to get all of this built. There we go. That should be up and running. Is this already made? Looks like it will be in a second. There we go. And it's created a nice little corner there. So you've got an isolated lavatory. Don't say I never give you anything, crew, because frankly, I'm not even sure we should have built that comfort for you right yet. But nevertheless, we also now need beds. So let's go ahead and have a look at building some beds. Now, those will be under furniture. We can go for the bunk bed. It'll take less space. It'll take a little bit more materials to make, but it'll be far better for space. But it won't be quite as comfortable. But right now, I feel that it's more important for us to have our crew actually sleeping rather than sleeping in the most comfort. So let's actually get those beds up and running. And since we're already doing it anyway, actually, let me just double check. This shouldn't need power. No, good. Phew. Let's go ahead and build out a little wall here. So you've got a cabin. Yes, I know it's not a private cabin, but it'll just have to do for now. We'll pop a little door there as well. Right, there you go. Crack on then, peeps. Now, I do actually want some lighting in here, perhaps. I kind of want some lighting in there, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to fit it. I might be able to fit it on this wall. We should be able to check that out. But one thing I want to double check is that CO2 is equalizing. I don't believe these doors are airtight. Contains a built-in vent. There we go, yeah. So we're fine with these transmitting the oxygen into these rooms. Everyone is just chilling out for a little bit. That's good to see. Got rejected. Oh, no. Pepster, let's have a look at you. Let's have a look. Status. Feeling a little hungry. I haven't really eaten well lately. My stomach is growling a little. Got rejected. I made a move on my crush and they rejected me. This sucks. I'm sorry, mate. And major discomfort. I'm feeling very uncomfortable and it's affecting my mood in a big way. Okay, well, hopefully you can come back from this. If we have a look at this, it expires in 5 hours there. Major discomfort. Well, there we are. Got rejected. You'll get over it in 9 hours. Well done. Well done for being sensible about this. Yes, I mean, it does suck to get rejected, but, you know, we're in a survival situation. You can't dwell on this thing. 9 hours, that seems reasonable. Yeah, you can have a bit of a sour mood for 9 hours. Though, interestingly, having a look at that, it wasn't that much of a sour mood. Well, actually, yeah, minus 20. I guess it is fairly high, but still, it's fine. Oh, is everyone queuing up to use the toilet at the same time? Look, I was trying to get you a place you could sleep. I'm so sorry that you can't, but oh well. They were all fighting for the toilet, but Little Rabbit got in there. Well done, Little Rabbit. And they're just all going to camp out on the... spend a night sleeping on the floor. It's not going to make them feel very good in the morning, but it is what it is. We will be sorting out their shifts shortly. Though with 2 bunk beds, technically, we don't need to. They have all the sleeping arrangements they want, but it would be nice to perhaps adjust the schedule so they're not all trying to queue up for the toilet as we just saw them doing there. There we go. They are up and about. Right. If you could get this done as soon as your work shift starts, let's have a quick look. There we are, into work in just about now. If I offset them a little bit, I think that would probably be quite useful. Let's have 2 separate times that we have our crew active. There we go. Just so that they get up a little bit earlier. That'll help out a lot. Right, build a kitchen module. This kitchen will provide finished meals from raw food. Place a table and chairs nearby to create a proper dining room for your crew members. I think that's a wonderful idea. Let's go ahead and get that going. We've got our little bunk in here, though. That should do well, though I believe the lack of light will actually will affect them a little bit. Major discomfort. I believe lights help with comfort. Let's have a look. This lamp creates light so that your crew members can see what they're doing. Light also increases comfort for your crew. Okay, well, I believe there is a comfort overlay, if I'm not mistaken. And there we go, yes. So we've got a bit of comfort in these areas. At least it's not terrible. There's no light, and the toilet is kind of a problem, and there's no light in there. So yeah, we do want to pop lights down, even though they do drain a little bit of power. It's worth doing. So let's go ahead and find some lighting. Can I, if I'm super lucky, fit... Oh, I can fit it on the wall. That is fantastic. And I can pop a light there as well. There we go. A little bit of light. I know the neon glow is not going to be particularly conductive to being able to sleep well, but hopefully our crew won't mind that one too much. There we are. Let's get that up and running. Now, I'm probably going to need to transfer some power over in this direction momentarily, but for the time being, let's have a look at facilities. We've got a kitchen. This kitchen will prepare finished meals from raw food. It requires 4 energy per second, and while idling 0.1. It does add a lot of comfort. It can make stuff out of monster meat. Okay. Yeah, you know what? The comparison to Rimworld is getting thicker and thicker and thicker as we go. But again, in space, efficiency is everything. And just wasting food, yeah, that's how you die. But we're gonna probably try and avoid going down a cannibal run straight away, at least. Let's at least give it a try to be somewhat civil. Not that eating food that would otherwise go to waste is not civil, but you know, people have these weird social norms. Nevertheless, let's try and also get, we've got a couch, standard X1 model. Sometimes you need to sit down and relax. I don't know, I could even fit that in there. For perhaps no, actually no. It needs room on either side. That's a bit of a shame. Now that is a chunky table and a half. Sorry, yeah, couch area. But you notice it's got a little space in the middle that we could easily fit a table, so 3 people could eat at a time. How big is that? Oh well, it does take up a fair chunky bit of space, but that door does not get in the way. So I think perhaps we'll do this. We can pop that there. Now this area won't necessarily have a light, but we could make a tiny little mess hole there. I think that would actually be quite nice. And we could have a little round table as well. So, yeah, I just like the round tables, frankly. We want another wall light, and we can pop this one down here. But as I suspected, we are, in fact, going to need some power. We're going to need to build some grow beds for our crew so they can actually grow their own food. Grow bed with light. This miniaturized farm is used to grow crops, requires water and is suitable in temperature, light and CO2 levels to operate. Works best in an enclosed room with a CO2 producer and a thermal regulator. No external light is needed because it has its own lighting. And this one is just a smaller one. It doesn't have quite as many beds, but we'll get to that in just a moment. First and foremost, oh, that one's already actually set up. Good. I'm going to build out a wall, I think. We're going to try and bring this wall down along here and then up. So let's start working on that one right away. So we're going to want a door somewhere around here. There we are. And we're probably going to get rid of this light for the time being. I know we had to build it for the sake of the tutorial. And I didn't know where I was going to be putting the wall, so yeah, blah. We could build this wall all the way up there just to try and have the most efficient use of space, or we can give them a little bit of extra room. Let's give them a tiny bit of extra room. I know that's not super efficient when it comes to space, but I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to pop in a maybe a little arcade or a jukebox or something, just something to keep morale up, you know? There we go. Furthermore, we are then going to need some power in here as well. Now, I don't think we're going to need much power in this area, so we should be able to just pop this one right there. Now, it does, unfortunately, kind of move over quite a lot of the wall, so maybe instead we'll go here. We don't really need this much power, though, which is the issue that I feel. I'm not super happy about using this in here, so yeah, we're still going to try and go with a connection there. We could even have it just over here, just to make use of space where I can. Sure, we'll pop it right, because I can't put it in front of the kitchen, so we'll pop it right there, and that should allow us to bring all of that power across. Right then, crew, let's watch you get all of this done. There we are. And as soon as this conduit is up and linked, we should be good. There we are. And link that up to here. I could also link it over there just so that we've got a full loop. Now that is actually using up a connection that we don't need, so actually on second thoughts that's not to do that. But with that, we should be good, I should imagine. Yeah, we've got our light on. In fact, let's have a little look at the comfort in this room. Comfort is 9 there, that's actually quite nice. There's no light down here, but we can easily fix that with a light module, perhaps even on this wall shining in. And I'm going to try to hold back on building things like jukeboxes, okay, for the time being, just because we don't need to. But I will build that wall light. There we go. That should do plenty nice there. Right, we do need a grow room. Where are we going to place this? We could even build off a little area. Yeah, I think we probably want to make a little spot for growing our food. Now, the different types of beds, we can have a tiny little one that only takes 2x2. We can have something that's 3x2, or we can have something that requires a 4x5 room. But I'm fancying that this one might be a bit better overall. Yeah, we're getting more out of it with each upgrade versus the amount of building materials needed. The autopsy table. The autopsy table enables crew members to dissect and butcher various creatures. Maybe we shouldn't. If we don't build the autopsy table, then we can't get into troubles. If we don't present ourselves with the question, then we can't be expected to answer the question, and the question obviously being whether it's okay to eat people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this doesn't leave us with any room for additional required things like a CO2 or thermal regulator, so we'll just... it's a little bit less efficient to do it this way, but let's go ahead and get that done anyway. There we go. This will leave us room for a little CO2 producer and perhaps a thermal regulator on this wall. Now we are... it looks like we're about to depressurize the hull, but this is apparently completely sealed in. They're not dumb, thankfully. There we go. So that is a bit of a difference with Rimworld, I suppose. Oh, let's be honest. When your crew in this or in Rimworld do something stupid, it's probably because you told them to do something stupid or didn't specifically tell them not to. So at least part of the blame is on the colony manager, not specifically the crew. That 100% does not stand for oxygen not included, though. When the derps do something derpy, well, that's really on them. Right, let's go ahead and build another wall out here. Just something like so. We'll have a door right at this point. Well, actually, can we have a door that has a vent? Creating rooms and privacy contains a built-in vent. I don't necessarily want this room to have a vent. I just want CO2 in there. I can make a spacesuit door. This spacesuit door enables a safe working environment and allows crew members to put on a spacesuit when entering a hazardous area. Now, this is the thing. I don't specifically want a door that has a vent in it because I want to produce CO2 in here for the plants and control the temperature a little bit more granularly. So I guess we are, in fact, going to be going with a spacesuit door. I hadn't really planned for that, but thinking about it, I think this is probably the wisest way. So we'll have a little entrance into a sealed-in compartment back here. So just as well, we built it with enough room down there, I suppose. We could pop down a couple more lights around the place, and maybe we should, actually, if we have a look at the comfort. The comfort is pretty dire. Though, honestly, down here, we're never going to get the comfort in this area up. It's always going to be pretty rubbish. That being said, there is light, it seems, around some of these. Nullified by negative comfort, light. Okay. So, no, there's zero light around these areas. Okay. Well, I will go ahead and I'll pop down some lighting here and there, I think. Just to try and improve matters a tiny bit. And for example, if we pop something where they are going to be doing a bit of work, and they're probably going to be doing a bit of work around these areas from time to time, and probably a bit of work around here as well. But this one can probably be done with a wall light rather than a main light. It can't be mounted on a corner block. Okay, well, still worth me doing down here and maybe down here then. We'll see what we can do. Something like that, just to get a couple of lights up and running, just to try and help my colonists a little bit with seeing things. Right, so we've got this room over here. Now this is isolated from the rest of the oxygen in the base. Now, with this in place, am I going to be able to build the grow bed that I wanted? Yes, I still can. Okay, that's good. We want a CO2 producer then. That we could build out the hull, so there's a little kind of alcove for this, but I think it's good enough for us to have this just kind of tucked away at the back here. We may expand it out a little bit more than that. Power-wise, we are definitely going to want a decent amount of power here. Let's actually see how much this thing pulls. Oh, it doesn't actually tell me. Well, we'll wait for it to be built then. We can probably see the CO2 producer, though. That pulls 1 per second. It does also generate a bit of heat, but the thermal regulator will be able to control that as well. Let's go ahead and grab the thermal regulator. This also pulls a tiny little bit of heat. We can just tuck that into the corner there. Shouldn't be a problem. Pop that one right there. Major discomfort. Got comforted. That was an interesting one. Let's go and have a look at that. Apparently you were comforted by someone. Okay. Well, everyone's having a bit of a kip, so we'll give them a wee bit of time. I'm hopeful that their comfort levels are generally getting better, feeling comfortable. Spend time in a really comfortable environment. Overall mood, work speed, increase. Oh, okay. So that is definitely worth us trying to work on. Alright. Minor discomfort. So yes, actually giving them a well-lit area does genuinely help. Well, I shouldn't be too surprised, I suppose, but I always like it when games give you something like that. I mean, the light is not going to help, unfortunately, just because this is such a horrible environment, so we're probably not going to see much change with it. Ah, damn it, of course, you're just out of range. Well, that's a potch. I'm going to, for the time being, then just dismantle this. I'm not going to, for the sake of one light, build another power node. We'll pull that down instead. But for the time being, this area now is probably super cold. Yeah, because we're not doing anything to try and warm it. Are we able to get through here at all? It should not be locked. I also don't want to open it either, but perhaps. No, there we go. The peeps are going in there to get things sorted. Excellent. Right. It just took them a little while. Oh, they probably weren't on their work shift, of course. Right, there we go. Getting the thermal regulator up and running. Fantastic. Now, we are going to need power in here, but I want to see if this can tell me how much power it's going to draw. We have a look at the overview. Doesn't actually tell me anything about that. Okay. Plant a crop. Much of your survival of your crew relies on water and food. These can be acquired through trading and salvaging derelict ships. Food can be grown in grow beds as long as you have some root vegetables, fruits, or artificial meat to plant in them. Select a grow bed and plant some crops. Be sure to check that one of your crew members has botany as a priority in the crew management menu. I will do. But it doesn't look like this is going to tell me too much about the power it pulls, which is a bit of a shame. Can I get any more information here? No, that is quite the shame. So I don't know if this pulls power. One would assume it does because of the light, but it doesn't tell me what kind of network to build in here. I'm going to assume something a bit chonky. And if I build it over on this side, no, it won't cover everything. No matter what I do, I'm not going to be able to get it over everything in here unless I build this one. We can just hope, I suppose. I may need to rethink that placement, but we'll build this for now. And hopefully we can get all of this onto the network. There we go. I really do like these little oxygen doors. I like the idea of isolating areas. Makes a lot of sense if you ask me. Right, we can connect up to the generator directly here. There we go, and that should bring everything in here online. Right, cannot reach set temperature. Build more thermal regulators. Well, I mean... why, though? Is it because it's in a wall? No, there we are. It's reached the correct amount. Insufficient available carbon there. Alright, well, let's have a look at this. First, we want to plant some crops. Now, if we have a look over here, what do we require? Inventory, 2.8, 2.8, 2.8. Custom logistics priority. Ooh. Okay, so I can tell it that this needs priority over other things. Is there any specific way that we produce items here? We're allowed to use root vegetables. Okay, they have different amounts. Protein, fat, carbs, and vitamins. That's actually pretty cool, I've got to be honest. I like that quite a lot. And of course the meat is going to have the temptation. Right, okay, so we're gonna try and nip that temptation in the bud straight away by growing some meat so that we never have to worry about it. We've got a total of 5 plant beds. We also want some... oh, no, stop that one. Want some fruits. Definitely want some roots. Fibers are useful, but in an industrial sense. We'll have one of them to grow fibers, but we'll get quite a lot of protein. There we go. Vitamins are very, very important. Protein, fat, very important. Fiber, depending on who you talk to. I mean, probably important. Let's be honest. For your traditional dietary needs, fiber seems to do a good job. But definitely fats, vitamins. These are things we 100% need. I'm almost tempted to go in there and switch out the root vegetables for the fruits, but we'll just go with a bit of a more balance for now. Right, we need a water purifier. Transforms ice into purified water, essential for many life forms. Well, I can certainly do my best, but how hot do I need it in here? I mean, now that they're working in here in spacesuits, we don't really need it to be that hot. I'm fairly certain that most plants aren't going to struggle too hard if we have it at more of a 15 degrees in there. Let's go and find out water purification. Will that be in facility? No. Resources, probably. Yes, there we are. Transforms ice into purified water. Power consumption, 15 a second. Wow. Will turn 0.2 ice into water. This is definitely something we want close by to the generator, simply because of its massive power draw. Let's make sure that it'll be within the generator's field of influence. Yes, it will. So we'll pop this one down about here. That should be fine. There we go. It's still within the generator's radius where it can output enormous amounts of power. So we're not going to be running off these tiny little floor-mounted areas. Right, so with that done, we still need carbon over here, but we don't really have any, which is a bit of a problem. But the water purifier will be up and running fairly quickly. Let's go ahead and get a jukebox. A jukebox plays a huge selection of the all-time favorite human songs and lifts up the mood. Comfort of 20. Wow. Arcade machine. This arcade machine allows crew members to play all of the great games created by backers of Space Haven. This machine is bound to lift the mood. Okay, well, they don't use a lot of power, it seems. Sure, I'll give them a little jukebox. I think that's completely fair. Pop a little jukebox there. I might even give them an arcade machine as well. There we go. Just a little bit of something to lift your spirits when you're on a break. Right, mine an asteroid. A great way to produce more building blocks is by mining asteroids for raw resources and then using the various refineries to turn them into usable building blocks. More water can be acquired by mining asteroids for ice and turning it into purified water with the water purifier. Mine an asteroid by selecting it and pressing the mine button. The tactical view will show the asteroid selected and one of the ships as the destination of the mining operation. Set the desired amount you want to be mined and watch the crew members use mining pods to mine the resources from the asteroid. Now, one thing we've got to be aware of is we're kind of getting full. Like, really full. So before we start mining, and this is definitely something I learned from playing the tutorial already, is that let's just get an extra storage up and running. We should have more than enough materials to do that, so let's just preempt the inevitable issue and pop a second storage there. This will then allow us to mine to our heart's content without any great problems. There we go. Getting the all-important jukebox and arcade machine up and running. Ah, the crew of this ship. They're living the life right now. Living the life. Right, so we've got our new storage capacity up and running. Over here, I mean, it says 1,342 out of 0. I mean, I would imagine that unless we're going to enter into close proximity to a gravity well, we won't really need to worry about weight. But we definitely want a bit more ice, as we have none. So let's select this. I would like to mine a little bit. We're going to use the HSS Holmes to go ahead with that. I mean, sure. We'll get 2 ice. That'll tide us over for a little bit. We don't need to be particularly frugal. You can just mine everything around here and not worry too much about it. Right, a recycler transforms scrap materials into a variety of usable resources, releases heat, and is noisy. Enclosed with walls and a spacesuit door to ensure a safe working environment. Now, the reason for that is that you don't want the toxic gases that this thing is going to produce getting anywhere else. On that note, let's have a quick look in here. Nice and chunky CO2 in there. Good, good. That's what we want to see. We want to see this with plenty of CO2 where we can. Whenever we get carbon, we're going to pop that in there. Used by CO2 Regulator to produce carbon dioxide, which is essential for plant growth. Good, good, good. And down here, this produces water. Dumps 3 of 5. Really? I mean, fair enough. Right, but our scrubber should be producing carbon. There we go. Used by the CO2 Regulator. So we're producing the carbon. Hazardous gas scrubber removes CO2, smoke, and toxic gases from the air and produces carbon. Needs only electricity to operate. Now, we could just branch off from this area since we've already got a spacesuit dock. And that makes a lot of sense to me. If we're going to have more areas, we can just have a little vent since this is going to be producing loads of CO2 anyway. The alternative is to have a second spacesuit dock because we're not really going to need to heat the work area. It will be generating its own heat. So, you know, we could possibly just bounce off that with the thermal regulator. But I'm thinking I kind of want to keep my plants outside of a toxic environment necessarily. CO2 is fine, but having potential toxins, not quite. But if we have a look at a recycler, let's find you. There we are. This produces quite a lot of hazardous gases. Operator skills industry. You can see down the side here all of the things. If I hover over it, all the things we can make. So we can recycle tech scrap, energy scrap, all of these things into various stuff that we're going to need. It's probably going to drain a lot of power. Yeah, it will drain a lot of power. Okay. I mean, this area, we don't necessarily need to worry about too much. But that being said, I mean, I'm going to assume right now that the plants require to not have, like, toxins in the atmosphere. That could be a mistake on my part, but we will see. Let me just have a quick look at how big the recycler is. Oh, it's actually a chunky boy. So it's a 5x3. All right, we may actually want to completely expand this out. Okay, now the problem is if we expand out there, we are in fact going to expose this area. But if we just draw the wall out, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do it, unfortunately. I would really like something like that, maybe. There we go. That'll give us one tile, then I can place a wall there. And I can slowly but surely build out a wall. In fact, we're going to do the whole thing in one go. Build out a wall all the way along here, and then we're going to have a spacesuit dock there. Then we can build out the wall here, and then I can build in an actual partition wall, and then we can expand out the rest of it to allow for keeping these two areas isolated from one another. I think that's probably a wise move. So let's go ahead and grab a wall. Now you can use different walls if you want to, and actually I kind of advise it honestly because it would make it look certainly a lot better. And with that done, yeah, then well actually we're going to wait for these walls to be built first. Apparently they can't get to that one. Well, that's kind of annoying. Oh no, they can. Oh, fantastic! You actually did much better than I was expecting. I'm too used to games where the units will get really, really dumb and just mess everything up. Clearly, I'm not giving you enough faith in your intelligence. I do apologize. There we go. They're going to chill out, get a little bit of comfort in. Let's actually see how their comfort is doing. Feeling comfortable too. Nice. Okay. So work speed is up to 2% now. Minor discomfort still though. I guess that's I'm not really sure what was causing that, but all right. Let's have a look at the comfort rating in here. Comfort rating is 24 there. Wow. That's actually quite nice. That room is coming along. I do like that is an angled wall automatically just based on the placement. I like that one quite a lot. Given that this game is based on tiles, seeing the angled surfaces is unexpected, but very, very welcome. Now, there we go. They're straight into the botany. I like it. Let's see all of this get sorted out. And now I need some walls in here just to make sure that this area is fully enclosed. Now, if you're really clever, you shouldn't, hopefully. Unfortunately, you haven't managed to take care of that one. So what we'll do is we'll just rip this wall down, get in there, finish that one if you would be so kind. As soon as you're done on your break, I suppose. No, you're not going to take care of that. Let me just double check that that wall is actually in place. Yep, it's definitely there. Hopefully someone will come along to this. Can we get that one done? There we go. Perfect. They may have actually just decided not to build that one because it was unreachable the first time round. And there we go. Now we have a room we can start working with. Now, on the outside, let's build this little area up. Something big enough. We'll take it out that wide. We'll install the spacesuit dock. Or spacesuit door, right there. There we are. I was butting up against the generator, which is probably not exactly ideal, but well. And then we can expand this whole room out, and we'll get quite a lot of room to play with at that point. This will be our industrial area. There we are. Perfect. Right, so with that, we need to build a recycler. Now, a recycler is going to require a lot of power, so you're almost certainly going to want to go for a rather large and chunky power node in this room. And I'm going to say, well, yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and just place this right there, and we'll start out in this room, and we'll probably build out to the range of this power node. But we are going to want to place down a recycler, and that recycler can live right about here, I'm going to say. Ooh, not liking that the walls have not updated. That's a little bit of a disappointment, but maybe they'll update after a reload of the game. There we are. Recycler is up and running, or will be as soon as I link this power. Now, technically, the recycler probably is already up and running. I would actually like to disconnect. Let me disconnect this one so I can connect these two. There we are. And then this one can run off that one. That way, I'm not sure if the capacity works that way, if this one, because it can only output a certain amount, wouldn't be able to fill this one. So I want that one coming directly off the generator for now. It might not be necessary, but we'll see. Right, draft and equip your crew members with weapons. Select a character and draft them. After this action, move them to a storage facility and interact with it to open up the inventory menu and arm them. If the storage is empty and the ship has many storages, try another one until you find the one with the weapons. The one with the weapons will obviously be this one for now. And this is the point where we're going to be heading down there, I think. You know what? Looking at the time, I'm out of time, but I'm not going to be a scallywag this time, all right? We're gonna keep going until we've dealt with the derelict vessel. I know I love cliffhangers, but there is even a point where I have to say, no, that would be too cruel. We're going to get to the derelict vessel first. Right, so who are we going to take along with us? Let's have a look. Status. Who's bloodthirsty? Yeah, so there we are. Little Rabbit, you're obviously coming with us, but I do kind of need you to sleep first. And who's on the same shift as you right now? So Little Rabbit and Silkass. Silkass, I don't think you're specifically a fighter, are you? No, you're a fast learner. No, your bravery's only 1. Vikamura has a bravery of 2, though. You're an airline pilot. Let's see, mining. Do we have a combat one? I think weapons only really affects using ship guns. I could be wrong about that though. Zest, bravery, intelligence, and perception. It'll be Little Rabbit and I guess Vikamura. Now they are slightly on different ships. I'm gonna let them have their sleep though before we go over to the other vessel. That would be a bit of a cruel trick to play on them, really. It's like, ah, no, right before you're due to go to bed. No, we're actually going on an adventure, and it's the adventure that's going to involve space aliens and possible, you know, very real threat to your continued existence. I at least want you to have some good dreams first. I'm not going to tell them for that reason. They're not going to be told that they're about to go and investigate a derelict ship before. Ooh, bad environment, CO2. Okay. What is wrong here? Do we just not have enough? Does it give me any better idea of this? The CO2 in here should be high. No, it's very low. There's more CO2 over here. How is that possible? Huh. Well, for the time being then, we're going to have to open this door. I didn't really want that, but alright. We'll allow the interior in here to equalize, I hope. Apparently, no, that doesn't work that way. I'm very unhappy about that. Very unhappy indeed. I had hoped that would help a bit. We are going to need a gas scrubber in here, though, because we're eventually going to be filling this with all kinds of toxic gases, and hopefully that will then produce plenty of carbon for us. Though, before we do anything, let's just check out. Have we got a carbon? Oh, we got a carbon asteroid. Okay, let's get a couple of bits of carbon first, then. And at this point, we can go ahead and pop this one on normal. There we go. Maybe that doesn't actually allow the venting. It's just opening the door so it's easy to get out. Let's go grab some carbon first, just to make sure that our plants are getting everything they need. And then we'll be going on. Oh, actually, you two are ready to go. Okay, perfect. Let's get down here then. Right, drafted. And we're going to slow down time for this one. Right, Little Rabbit. Let's see what we've got. We have got a shotty. You're going to have that, and you're going to have a... Well, in use will be the shotty. There we go. I want you to be equipped with that at all times. Ooh. Explore the derelict ship. When drafted, crew members can be ordered to board a shuttle. The shuttle can then also be drafted and used to transport your crew to a derelict ship. Move the shuttle manually and press dock to select a docking position. Docking automatically guides the shuttle to the desired location. Once docked, drafted crew can be ordered to exit the shuttle and investigate the ship. But first, Vikamura, need to have a weapon, please and thank you. Go ahead and you can grab that. There we are. Right, 2 of you, into the shuttle, please. Into the craft. This is going to be fun. Right, now this is already drafted because I've just put drafted people in there. And we are going to want to come down here. Now, you could just navigate naturally. I've just clicked in space and it'll head over there. But the other way you can do it, you just click dock. And then it'll show you all of the valid locations to dock
which is here. Now, you don't necessarily need to dock. You can instead just kind of move up to some sort of hull breach and get them out of the ship, and then they can use they can kind of do a spacewalk to get inside. But honestly, having this at a docked location is better for them. It just makes a lot of things a lot easier, especially getting back to the ship, which is going to be their source of O2 for the time being while they're in there. So we are going to have a limited O2. They're just going to be in their suits for the time being. Right, there we are. Right, okay, time for us to exit. Little Rabbit first, as if there were bugs waiting for them, Little Rabbit would be the better one to deal with that. Right, let's pause this and see what we've got. Fully explore the ship and neutralize any hostiles. I'm fairly certain that Little Rabbit will be very happy with this. Now, you can interact with anything in here. You can also shoot things in here. You can destroy the loot that you would be here to collect by being a little bit too bloodthirsty. Or just not watching it fire. Now, there are things on the ground that these are inventories, but we can't investigate these inventories directly. We can come back and grab those later on, though. Right, let's get through. Thankfully, our crew members don't really get in each other's way. Head on through as well. Now, I'm going to be pausing this the moment we encounter enemies, because there's a couple of things you can do when people are drafting. You've got quite a lot of fine control over their deployment. Can we get up in here? Let's go in, check out this room. Nothing there for us to investigate yet, but we can see this massive hole in the ship. Right, okay. Now from here, we can see quite a lot of things. First and foremost, Vikamura, I would like you to move up there and have a bit of a better look around. And I would like Little Rabbit to have a peek at what we've got here. We've got some credits. Keep looting. More credits. More credits. Credits still. And a data log. Let's go and have a look. In fact, there's quite a lot of data logs here. And I will take the time to read through this for you, just because this one kind of sets up the game a little bit. This one we've always had. The end didn't happen with a bang, or a fanfare, or even a nuclear fireball. It just crept up on us. It began in the 21st century. Humanity made great strides in that century, but so much damage had already been done, and so much of it was irreversible too. When the insect population collapsed, food crops and biodiversity both suffered. Without those, ecosystems all over the globe suffered. By the time we curtailed our CO2 emissions, there were too few trees to sequester the excess. The result was hotter summers and deeper freezing winters. Species went extinct by the thousands every day, and as we squabbled over the cause and the solutions, we pulled ourselves apart. Old allies became bitter rivals, nations came apart at the seams. The great edifices that supported the internet, global trade, just-in-time delivery, and all other things that humanity depended upon to live, they all fell apart. Starvation, disease, and war made the 22nd century even bloodier than the 20th. Humanity was always good at adapting, though. When the sun baked the land, we invented the thermal regulator. When the crops failed, we invented grow pods. We got better at recycling, at finding new energy sources, but we were always a step behind where we needed to be. Folks used to joke about the big tech firms and their slogans, yesterday's solutions, tomorrow. It's not that we destroyed the world, but we certainly made it impossible to sustain human civilization as it was. Too many places lapsed into feudal tyranny or mismanaged themselves into famine, or just plain became unlivable as the climate shifted. Through it all, we never gave up on the space exploration. There were complaints, of course, that it was a waste of increasingly valuable resources, that all the money and effort could go towards actually solving the problem. Now, it seems maybe space was the only solid investment we ever made. And here's the data log we got from the ship we're on. As entry 1. Okay, log 1. Where the wind takes us. Personal log, first entry. Captain Michael Raymond of the good ship Tranquility speaking. Wonder if I should feel guilty about how glad I am to see the back of Earth? Ain't probably never gonna see it again, and good riddance. Whole place was troubling, and that's putting it mildly. Sure ain't gonna miss ranching cattle only to have them all stolen and slaughtered by starving refugees. Idiots didn't leave no breeding stock, meaning no more cows, meaning no more food. Safe bet they turned to eating each other in the end. Still, Tranquility ain't exactly a step up from the ranch. I'm gonna miss big open skies and the wind in my face, that's for sure. And I'm really gonna miss my dog. But hell, I'm alive and we got food and good crew. Ain't my concern if Katie wants to sleep next to the power core or Glass keeps reading the same Bible over and over again like he's trying to memorize it. And Sam? I ain't never looked at a woman the way Sam looks at his rifle. He even named the damn thing, which is just weird, but I'm glad he's on my side. I guess we'll go where the wind takes us, so to speak, and do our best to scratch out a living. We ain't the first folks trying to make something of a new frontier. We won't be the last either. It won't be easy, but we can do it.
Now, this log entry, completely procedural. Well, I say procedural in that there are more. When I first played through the tutorial, I got a very different log entry. And I'm actually I like the fact that there are more entries. We'll be able to build out the stories of these explorers over time. Right, so that's everything from there. Vikamura, I want you to stay there. You can be my eyes for the time being. Let's have a look through. In fact, I would like that door opened. Let's keep that open for now. And now that we've got a bit of a better sight in here, we're almost down to half O2. We've got a little bit more of the ship to go. Not too much of a fan of that. Let's open the door. Anything in there? Nope. Okay, let's have a look through. It's not like we need to keep these doors closed. We might, if we wanted to repressurize the ship and maybe take it over, and you can do that. You can claim vessels if you want to, but that is not what we're doing here. Okay, Vikamura, let's try and stay as a group if we can. We're going to move forward and hopefully get through this door. There's a little bit of a passageway there. Maybe it wouldn't have been too bad. Right, you keep a look over here. In fact, if I choose Vikamura, I can tell Vikamura to have weapons off, to move to draw a weapon, give oxygen, so they can share oxygen if they want to. Little rabbit, you have a look down here. You just keep an eye on that area. Yeah, it doesn't look like this goes in. Oh, actually, no, it does. Oh, that's a bit of a pain. Okay, this might not go too many places, though. Nothing terrible in the engine room, it looks like. Okay, that's a bit of a surprise, I'll be honest with you. Okay, we look safe so far. This whole area seems all right. But we are getting low on O2, so we're going to head back and grab ourselves a refill. Both of you head back to the O2 station, please. There we are, and then we'll come back through. So far, no aliens. Now, this is, again, a very big departure from where I was in the tutorial the last time. It was covered in aliens. It was rather interesting. And I figured that the tutorial might be a bit more on rails, but it seems like no, it is genuinely just playing the game, but with a little bit more hints and help. Right, now I suspect we're going to find something over here, so let's get you in position. I would like you to open the door. Little rabbit. No, nothing in here. Wow, okay, I am very surprised. Very surprised. Maybe we had a derelict ship without any alien activity on it. I don't know how common that is. So far, the only ship that I've seen was covered in aliens, but I'm definitely okay with the lack of open wounds, because that was kind of awful. Okay, yeah. Explored the ACS and Net Pirates Galleon, I believe it was called. But we'll check in this room, see if there's anything in there. Okay. Well, a little bit anticlimactic. I do apologize. I was very, very actively moving through here, expecting the next room to be just full of an alien cluster. But no, it doesn't seem that it wanted to give us a little bit more of a gentle introduction this time. Right, build a hull stabilizer. Hull stabilizer reinforces the spaceship's frame, strengthening it and generally improving structural integrity. Multiple stabilizers can work in unison to bolster the hull far beyond its normal limits. Sufficient hull stability is also needed for hyperspace jump capacity. Now, we have this salvage ship, and I'm just going to quickly show you how we would do that. But first and foremost, let's both get our peeps back there. Now, they could, if I wanted them to. If I wanted to say, yeah, you're not allowed through these doors, they would just hop over here. Just expel a little bit of gas just to give themselves a little bit of momentum, or they just take a running jump. And that would work fine. But we're actually going to send the ship back before we check in there. But the way you do salvage, select the Explored direct. It has to be fully explored. By clicking this message or zooming out to tactile view, the transfer tab can then be used to bring salvage resources back to your ship. Note that your crew members and the shuttle need to be undrafted in order to salvage and transfer resources. Basically, if they're drafted, they don't do anything you don't tell them to do.
because the last thing you'd want is this to rush off to just to transport some resources, and your crewmen who were exploring the dark ship no longer have O2 or anything silly like that. But if we select this and undraft, it will do its own thing. There we go, and everyone in the ship has been undrafted. If we zoom out, we can have a look. Salvage this ship station for scrap resources or transfer. There are some resources, and you may have noticed they're like resource crates, these things. We actually want all of this, every single last bit of it, over on the HSS Holmes. So let's get those on the move, and once that's done, we would then be able to start salvaging everything down to the hull, and I strongly recommend you do that. There's no point in wasting anything. But I think that's going to be where we're wrapping up this first taste. I'm sorry I couldn't show you any of the combat mechanics, but on the plus side, none of our people got eaten by aliens. So, you know, you take the good with the bad, I suppose. But that is going to be it from me. As always, do remember to leave a like if you liked and sub if you haven't already, especially on a first taste, as likes and comments will let me know if you're interested in seeing a little bit more. And there is definitely a fair bit more to show you of Space Haven, but that is going to be it from me. I do hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you in the next, whatever it should be. But until next time, and as always, do take care and try not to be eaten by space insects.